James, Tottenham Hotspur accept an £86 million bid. Harry Kane, 30 years old, 1 year left on his contract. First of all, kind of surprised that Spurs accepted that bid, but the news we're hearing is that Harry Kane might reject Bayern Munich. Now, what does that lead to? Well, it opens up kind of an interesting conversation. You and I can obviously talk about what Kane should do, what we would do in his position, what we predict might happen. But I think it opens up quite an interesting conversation surrounding, does Kane stay for the Premier League record? 0 Premier League titles, 0 FA Cups, 0 Carabao Cups, 0 Champions Leagues. But he's the all-time top scorer. For how long, who knows? Or does he go to Bayern Munich, probably win a Bundesliga every single year of his contract there, and maybe has a shot, an outside chance at a Champions League title every year, maybe wins a domestic cup? What's more important? I'll ask you, I've got my own opinion, but I'll ask you, what do you think is more important here?
Winning titles is more important than breaking records. At the end of the day, Jack, every record is there to be broken in just the whole world. There's some unbreakable records, like certain Messi and Ronaldo records are going to be hard to break. But Premier League record, it's far away, but it's doable. Somebody like Erling Haaland, the way he's going, could break it. I look at an amazing record like Usain Bolt 100-meter record. At some point, somebody will break that record. But tell you what will always stand: his 3 Olympic gold medals in back-to-back. I mean, I don't know how many he won, like 12 in 3 Olympic games. That's what's more important. Titles was so important because it cements your legacy. Nobody can take them away from you, but a record can be taken away from you. As great as Alan Shearer is, as soon as he goes second, that title is gone then, Jack. He held it for so long, but that title is gone. Ian Wright, I love him, but he's not known as Arsenal's all-time leading goal scorer. That's Thierry Henry. At some point, somebody's going to break that Thierry Henry record. He won't be noticed as that anymore, but we're going to remember Thierry for winning all these titles, for dominating. That's what, to me, that counts the most, the seasons and what you do. Harry Kane has that, but to me, titles is more important.
I'm going to disagree with you here. And I feel good about this, actually, because this is a nice organic disagreement. James, I actually replied to a Jamie Carragher tweet. I usually don't comment on celebrities' Instagram posts or reply to famous people on Twitter because, James, no one's looking at my tweets. I might reply to you or a couple of my friends or whatever, maybe a couple of people with less than 1,000 followers. But anybody with millions of followers, I'm not replying to them because I know they're not looking at it.
Just be careful what you say, Jack. You know where people digging up what you say.
That's true.
Just be careful, guys.
I might be on blast at some point here. But I replied to a Jamie Carragher tweet today, James. James, does anybody remember Luke Chadwick and his 6 Premier League starts for Manchester United and his Premier League medal and his title? Does anybody really remember Luis Boamorte and his Arsenal medal for winning the Premier League and his, I think, 10 appearances for Arsenal in that season? Right? It doesn't matter. I sent you a list of the all-time top scorers. I look at somebody on there like Jermaine Defoe. Jermaine Defoe hasn't won a title, but I'm going to look at him, give him more respect, give him more credit as a Premier League player and a contributor than I am to these guys who have the titles. It's what you do and it's what you contribute within those titles. Now, again, you're absolutely right. If Alan Shearer's all-time record gets taken away from him, I don't think we stop talking about Alan Shearer. I still think that this is one of the most iconic celebrations of all time. I still think we remember him for Blackburn. I still think we remember him for Newcastle. I will say that I do think that the record is important, but I think for Kane, the important thing is adding to that. James, if he, God forbid, if he got a horrible soft tissue injury and never played football again, he'd be remembered as one of Spurs' greatest ever players, maybe their greatest ever player. We'd need a Spurs fan probably to prove that point. He'd be remembered as one of England's greatest ever players as well, in terms of his goal contribution and all this kind of stuff, even though that will probably be broken too. I just think I saw this tweet that said, if you win Liga at Paris Saint-Germain, or you win the Bundesliga at Bayern Munich, it's like losing your virginity to a prostitute. It's fine, but you're kind of going in there and it's kind of like, does that really count? Does that really count?
So first of all, if you're doing that, guys,
Don't do that.
Don't listen. Don't come chat. Oh my days, Jack.
But no,
That's a great analogy there.
it is. And again, I feel kind of bad for saying it. I would have said, Juventus, Serie A, but that's kind of changing at the moment as well. But look, I don't hate what you're saying. Titles, the memories for the titles. James, that's what the game's about. Let's not get it twisted. If we're not playing for titles and silverware, what the hell are we doing? Right, plain and simple. But for me, and we can get on now maybe to the prediction bit and also the what we do in his position bit. I've already spoken about this a couple of times. James, rubber has to meet the road here, man. Daniel Levy is in no position of leverage at all. We've already seen the amount of money now that Spurs are happy to accept from another team. And as we slowly get into the back nine of this transfer window, these English teams, we've already seen a couple of unnamed teams come in with huge wage proposals for next year, which is not allowed, by the way. And I just think he'll stay in England. He'll either see out his final year at Spurs and be the bad guy, right? And Daniel Levy will say goodbye to all that money. Or my kind of bold prediction, Scott McTominay leaves, Van der Beek, all these excess players at Manchester United leave, and I think a very, very late window bid from Manchester United secures it. Or, James, the way Chelsea have been spending, maybe something like that. It's just my prediction. If I was Kane, I'd explain to the club, here's where I want to go. I'm just going to try and get you some money for it, but I've got to try and win. That's what I'd do if I was Harry Kane.
My thing with the whole record thing is that when we did the all-time players in each position, what do we always talk about, Jack? The titles that they won, what they contribute to winning. Yeah, we didn't mention too many. I didn't hear too many records being told. It was about the titles. Miroslav Klose has the most goals in the World Cup history, and he is talked about, but he don't get the love like R9 got and all these guys.
Well, James, we talked about this recently. Who's my all-time Premier League 11 number 9? Didier Drogba. It's Didier Drogba. He's not too high on that list that I just sent you of all-time top scorers. So again, it proves your point.
But my biggest thing is that European teams are in serious jeopardy, and I mean the highest level ones. Now, take away the Premier League and La Liga, because there's still excitement when a Barcelona, a Real Madrid, and let's say an Atletico Madrid win it. Yeah, because there is still challenges there. But teams like PSG and especially Bayern Munich, it's becoming irrelevant now. Jack, are you trying to tell me if Barcelona came in and met the bidding, the asking price of Tottenham, Harry Kane wouldn't be a Barcelona player? He wouldn't jump at a chance to go to Barcelona. Real Madrid, he wouldn't jump at a chance to go to Real Madrid. Even, let's just say, for instance, I think a Juve.
I think Barcelona and Real Madrid are different gravy. As I love Juventus, I love Bayern Munich, but Barca and Real are different gravy.
Listen, I do understand that, but Bayern are as big as Barcelona. They have more Champions Leagues than them, Jack. You look at historically, like they've done more than Barcelona.
They're a huge team, but Barcelona
they are a huge team. But the issue with Bayern, I think one of the biggest problems that happened to them this year, and it's more of a discredit, is that they won the Bundesliga, Jack. They've won 11 league titles in a row. So you go in there, Jack, it's like, seriously, this league is what's the point? We're not talking about 3, we're not talking about 5, we're not even talking about 10 anymore, Jack. 11 league titles in a row. Yeah. I think the second place team of Bundesliga titles is like 11 or 9 all time compared to them. I think with every team combined, Bayern still have more titles than all the other Bundesliga teams combined. It's ridiculous, the dominance and the separation that they've had. The Bundesliga was always competitive, but the last 11 years, Jack, it's taken a life of its own, where even, let's say, Borussia Dortmund has a big lead, you're always going to believe Bayern's going to make it up. And especially the way that they won the league last year with Borussia Dortmund almost bottling it, it makes the league look a bit like, let's just send our, unproven talent there to just kind of get experience and just get a bit of confidence, and then we'll buy him back. That's what it feels like. Yeah. A team like Bayern Munich, a player of Harry Kane's quality should be saying, Bayern Munich are coming for me. I want to go. And to be fair, Jack, he may still say, I'm going to join Bayern Munich. But for me, if a team like that comes up, it should be a no-brainer. Real Madrid put in that bid, Jack. I don't even think he's thinking. It's
Oh
not
no,
even a thing.
but I mean,
Barcelona, listen, take away the fact that let's say if Lewandowski wasn't there. Barcelona put in that bid, he's already doing the keep you up. He's at the new camp.
yeah, those two. I think those two clubs are different. I do though look at the Bayern Munich thing, and I just kind of shrug a little bit. So again, it's the same with Paris Saint-Germain. I know Paris Saint-Germain don't have the consecutive title wins, but Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, all these great players who've played for PSG whenever they win a league title, I'm like, big deal. You
Oh,
outspend every other team. You're easily the best team by a mile. The competition is shockingly bad. It's the 7th ranked league. You have the best team by a mile, arguably the best squad in Europe. Like, I just don't want to hear it. Similarly to Bayern Munich, it's not as competitive. It's not as ambitious. And James, I think if you're
like
Harry
even more,
Kane,
the Bundesliga is less competitive than Ligue 1. At least a couple teams have beaten PSG. You know,
well, that
Monaco and Lille have beaten PSG. PSG haven't won in the last 11 years. Jack, the last 11 seasons, Bayern have won all the league titles. That's not
precisely,
me
and it just
speculating. That's fact.
Yeah, and it just proves my point. It just proves my point. Real Madrid, Barcelona, in my opinion, different gravy. These are historic, legendary clubs. I'm not saying Bayern isn't.
I still think Bayern's bigger. We can have that debate too. With
Dude,
Barcelona or Bayern, let's have that debate.
I think you're insane, but I like it. But just staying on Kane, to me, if I'm Kane, patient, try and talk with the board, try and get a move to Chelsea, try and get a move to Manchester United, try and get it sorted. If neither of those come up, James, have another good year at Spurs, because, James, here's the difference. Daniel Levy and Ange Postecoglou will not do what Luis Enrique and Nasser El Khelaïfi are doing to Kylian Mbappe. They will not do that. It won't stand. They're not going to have Kane train for a year and not play matches for a year. It's impossible. And then leave for free. It will not happen. Kylian Mbappe has been a bit rogue, spoken out of each side of his mouth, right, and is kind of manipulated his way to getting what he wants. Harry Kane's not done that at any point. It won't stand. I think what happens here is we get late in the window and some team pulls it out of their rear end to be able to secure Harry Kane, and then Spurs get some money. Maybe they can reinvest here and there. That is what I think he wants, and that is what I think ultimately is best. It's been horribly handled, but to me, it's just impending. We're just waiting for it to happen. Again, I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. But I don't think Kane would see any value in winning a Bundesliga title at Bayern Munich as opposed to winning a Premier League title and getting the all-time record. That would just be my guess.
You say Mbappe's talking behind both sides of his mouth. I think Kane has probably got Bayern to kind of do that, where it's almost like they said, oh, do you want to come? He said, yeah. Okay, we're going to do our best to get you. Bayern don't come in for 2. Jack, I think Bayern have put in like 3 bids for Harry Kane, or for like 4. Yeah, they got a big one rejected, and then they put another one in, and now there's rumors of him saying, "I think I'm going to stay right now." He's obviously played Bayern Munich a little bit there.
Well, Kane was probably hoping that Spurs would reject the latest offer, because then he's still got like well, they haven't accepted the offer, so that would be his reason.
So maybe Daniel Levy kind of called Kane's bluff, and it's like they're kind of going tit for tat now. Because, Jack, if I'm being truthfully honest with Harry Kane, is that if a team like, let's say, Real Madrid, because to me it's Real Madrid one, don't come in for it, don't you not want to be a free agent? I just think him being a free agent and getting to choose his destination would be so much easier than having. Because let's be honest, Jack, Daniel Levy is a what to deal with.
Yeah.
And teams don't want to deal with him. If he can go into next year, granted, it will be another year on like the clock for him. But if he can go into next year, being a free agent, have all these teams line up for him, the signing on fee, all that sort of stuff there, a team that can build around him, I think that's perfect for him. I don't think he wants to have a thing where Spurs are negotiating with his team, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I do think that he holds a little bit of envy towards Daniel Levy for, let's be honest, Jack, him being the reason why he doesn't have maybe 2 or 3 Premier League titles to his name right now. 100%. He should be a Manchester City player. Yeah, he should have probably won a treble or something like that. But Daniel Levy's the reason why.
And again, you and I both think Erling Haaland's a very talented player. But again, stick Kane in the Man City team last season.
Oh my!
I don't know, James. I don't know if he breaks the record just because it's a slightly different profile, and I think he'd probably play slightly differently. But Kane might still come really, really close to breaking the record if he was the starting number 9 for Man City last season. They'd probably still win the treble.
If Kane played for Man City last season, I'm saying 45 plus goals.
Yeah, I agree. I nothing would be standing in his way. More chances, higher quality chances,
Kevin
all this stuff.
Kevin De Bruyne putting in the box for Harry Kane. That's cash
Outrageous.
money. Um,
Right, James. Okay. Prediction. Go on. Who's he playing for? Transfer window shut. Who's he
I
playing
think
for?
he's. I think he's Jack. I'm gonna stick with what I'm gonna say. I think he's still gonna be a Spurs player. And January, he'll probably leave in January. I'm gonna stick to that.
I'm going to say that Man United pull. There's an FFP. They break the rules, and I think they do it. I don't know how. I just think I've just got this gut feeling that we're coming to this crossroads, and I think it just looks to be one way.
I mean,
And
it's.
then
I think.
James, and then we need to have a conversation about the league title because
Oh,
gut.
100%.
I mean, that's a difference maker if I've ever seen one.
Serious difference, man. Because that's Manchester United. They're not far off. They get that goal score. Jack, I don't want to hear no excuse. If they get Harry Kane, I'm not hearing no excuses.
Oh no,
You
yeah.
better outdo Arsenal City, all of us.
Mhm.
But